thank you all for coming. I'm honored to have everybody here who is here. I know everyone's busy. It's obviously for a great cause, and those of you who know Sheryl and I know how important iMatter and teaching kids are. So I appreciate that very much. We're here today to talk about iMatter for Kids and the launch program that we're doing at Pierce Elementary here in Birmingham. And it's a leadership development education. It's ultimately to empower kids to know they matter, and it's involving the educators, parents, and the community. So it's not just a job, obviously, of the educators. Obviously, the parents have a big role, and what we're doing is also involving the community. And I want to talk about leadership a little bit. It's leadership education. Leadership can be construed as many different things. It could be a leader of a business, leader of a community, a leader politically, and what we're also talking about is being a leader in one's own life. So to know who they are, know where they're going, and to act accordingly. And there is a bit of a void of leadership in our world today, and so we're excited to start with children to help them to know who they are. And I even got into a little bit of a debate with someone recently and said, well, are leaders born or are they taught? And I said, well, I appreciate that the outward leaders may be born or not. That's a separate discussion. But to be a leader in their own life, I think absolutely can be nurtured. And how we got here is, I'm an entrepreneur and have been for 20 years. It's been a great ride. A lot of entrepreneurs kind of get into it by accident, where there is either they're let go or there's an opportunity out there, and so they say, here's a gap of something that I think I could create a process or a project or a company that people are willing to pay for. And yet, what kind of education do entrepreneurs have? Now, I know there's more now within schools, but a lot of people that I came into business with, we just kind of were winging it. And it's been, being an entrepreneur has been one of the greatest growth opportunities for me to realize who I am and why I'm here. And there's a group called EO, which there's several people here. It used to be YEO, I guess, because a few of us, it's not, it used to be Young Entrepreneurs. So now it's just EO, which I think was a branding mistake. But EO has been one of the greatest things in my life, and I know with a lot of the other entrepreneurs, where it's a group of people where it's a safe space to share, to learn, to realize we're not alone. A lot of entrepreneurs, we feel like we don't fit in because we do think of things different, we dream, we're vulnerable, we try things. So EO, I have been a member for almost 15 years now. I owe a lot to EO, and a lot of what I've learned in EO has helped me in my life and as a part of this program. Entrepreneurs and leadership, I think, are somewhat similar. There's leadership, and then entrepreneurs are people who are risk takers and whatnot. And what's interesting is we created a program for entrepreneurs. My wife Sheryl and I created a program really for me because I have a hard time staying focused and what matters most. So we developed some tools and whatnot for me personally to stay on track for realizing what matters most, clarifying who I am, and to be happy. And what's interesting, a lot of people are like, well, you're an entrepreneur, you can do whatever you want. But entrepreneurs often, like people, we get in our own way. So what are we great at? What are we not great at? How can we learn? How can we stay focused on the things that matter most? So we developed iMatter, and everyone has a token in front of them. That's a token of appreciation for all of you for being here. And it's also a reminder, again, the three stools of iMatter are to realize what matters most, clarify who you are, and to be happy. And so this is a little reminder and a token of appreciation for being here. And so we've had a lot of success for helping entrepreneurs to gain balance in their lives and to stand up for themselves and what really matters. And then that's evolved into team building and then ultimately creating a culture that represents who they are, who the entrepreneur is within their business. So Sheryl and I have a 5-year-old son, Nicholas, and a 9-year-old daughter, Grace, at Pierce Elementary. And our passion is like, how can we help the kids? And so we created a foundation, or a nonprofit called iMatter for Kids a couple years ago, and still kind of feeling out where it was going to go, but we were ready for it. And then what we realized, the program that we created for entrepreneurs is actually pretty well suited for children, because entrepreneurs are kind of like kids. We're kind of teenagers saying, hey, I don't like that, I'm going to go try this. But to help set a structure for the entrepreneurs is actually very beneficial for setting a structure for the kids. So by getting involved with kids, we figure we can save a lot of therapy down the road. And so we're excited to move forward on that. The vision for iMatter for Kids, I was walking to work one day. I'm so excited to be able to walk to my office in Birmingham. I love it. 5 o'clock in the morning, it's raining, and I had a vision of 3 bullies on a playground in elementary and picking on one child. And then there was 2 bystanders standing there, and so they're kind of taunting them and verbally abusing them a little bit. And so the 2 boys are saying, well, I know we should do something, but if we do something, are we going to get beat up? And if we do something, are we going to be able to hang out with the tougher kids, the more popular kids, whatever it might be? So they're mulling it over, and finally one of the 2 says, hey, stop that, that's not right. And the bullies turn around and say, oh, what did we just do? So they started walking toward the 2 bystanders, and then the people who spoke up heard a little rustling behind them, and they heard, hey, stop it. That kid does matter. And they turned around, and there's 50 other children standing up for what was right. And that's what our vision is for iMatter for Kids. There's great programs, and we need to be aware of the bullies and the kids who are getting picked on. For us, it's the group of the bystanders, for me anyways. And I was one of those that didn't know how to speak up as a kid. And so to help the 70% of people who are bystanders to speak up regardless of what the consequences might be. So that was kind of the impetus to say, how do we help those who are leaders, maybe quiet, to really know who they are and to stand up for themselves. I want to talk about Birmingham for a second. Sheryl and I have lived here now for 12.5 years. It's our hometown. It's our children's hometown. We love it. There's so many great things about it that we were part of the leadership of the industrial age, and so to help reinvest ourselves into the children here in Birmingham, to grow our children, to help our community. We're very excited about that. We love it. And then Pierce Elementary, which is right down on Pierce, about a mile from here. I don't know how long it's been around. It's been around. There's 3rd generation people there that are going there. And it's the educators, Principal Jim Lawlick and Julie LeBurn, Vice Principal, are very dedicated. Well, Pierce was recently awarded a School of Character. So that was, we're excited about that. They have the Pierce Path and values and how to deal with conflict resolution and whatnot. And so Sheryl and I approached the leadership there and said, we'd like to be a part of the character education, whatever that looks like. And then the character education department of Birmingham approached iMatter for Kids and said, how can we help implement that? So we started to think, okay, there's iMatter, and then through EO, I've met Chris Marshall, who is the CEO of Winning Futures, who will speak in a minute, and said, is there a fit here? And Winning Futures is it's a mentoring program for high school and junior high. And a lot of my friends have been through it. It's a great education. I've been to several different functions. And we said, well, can we make this a combination of the 2? And we really are excited about the fit, where we're going to be bringing a pilot program into Pierce for 25 4th and 5th graders to prepare them for junior high. I don't know about you, but junior high was an interesting experience. And so as our kids are getting closer to junior high, I say, boy, I wish I would have known the things that I know now when I was 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. So Sheryl, Chris, and I designed a program which, their program, it's tight, it's solid, it works. And in the past, it's been, correct me if I'm wrong, but more for at-risk kids and whatnot. And we're all at risk. So it's, and the things that I'm hearing about the Birmingham kids, it's not just for the kids who don't have certain things, it's for kids to know they matter. So we're very excited to work in partnership with Pierce, and as this is successful this fall, we're going to be rolling it out hopefully into junior highs locally, and we'd like to take it throughout the world. What else? Oh, so for iMatter, we're going to do a combination where the mentors, which Chris will talk about, will work with the kids, and then iMatter, we're going to work with the parents of those kids, and then they're going to work on things together. So it's bringing it all home. Again, Pierce has done a pretty good job in getting better at talking about character, but how can we bring it home? So that's where we get the parents involved, ultimately the community involved. Ultimately, we're creating tomorrow's leaders today. And so, you know, I've always wanted to change the world, and my parents kind of laughed at me, oh, here goes Bob trying to change the world. And in fact, I have been distracted sometimes for what's right in front of me. So what I'm excited is to have made that shift that I'm not looking to just change the world. What I can affect is changing my world. So that's what we're here to talk about today, is changing the world right around us, our kids. I'm so excited to work with my kids, and I envision this to be, you know, this is a lifelong thing that's going to go on where I'm going to learn from the kids. And that's the beauty of it, is I've helped dads mainly, but entrepreneurs, and then they go to help their kids, and they learn more from their kids than anyone. And that's the kind of the secret sauce to the whole thing.